And some of the coolest gyms I've gone to have been places I've gone on trips, seeing different things, meeting different people, getting new vibes. Sometimes you'll even see unique ways people do things where you can improve. And I find that extroversion of just like getting out is one of the best things you can do. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm here on a new microphone.
Yeah, we're fired up. This is about our sixth microphone. We've had to buy quite a few, but we're always striving to make the podcast the best it can be. And as usual, we have some exciting plans and developments to continue to grow and scale this podcast as we scale the incredible information that's being received and we scale in our audience. So thank you for tuning in today. And we're really excited to jump into our first question out of the mailbag, which is, how can I stay consistent with my training? I find it's hard for me to stay on track for longer than a month.
So this is a great question. And I feel like when it comes down to anything that you're struggling with, whether it's like nutrition, it could be you're struggling to stay on track with eating healthy, or even your bedtime routine, or like taking your supplements, like whatever it is that you're struggling with, I will say the first and most important step is identify what's holding you back. Because I can sit here and list out 7 different things that you should try and that you should implement. But the truth is, unless it actually means something to you and it's actually like based off of what your lifestyle is like, based off of what your situation, what your goals are and all that stuff, it's not going to work. So to me, there's kind of like a 2-step process, actually 3-step process. The first thing is identify what it is that's holding you back. Is it your mindset? Is it that you hate the gym? Is it that you just like don't have the time and you're kind of prioritizing other things? The next thing is going to be to reduce friction. So the way you reduce friction is to make it easier to succeed. And I would do that typically by going at the same time every day, so there's never a debate. For some people, it'll be as soon as you get off work, you have your gym bag packed and you head there right away. For others, it's going to be doing it in the morning when your discipline's at an all-time high. So just setting it up where even you have accountability. Like for me and Josh, it's like, I know I'm going to meet up with them. Like the friction is just, it's completely gone. It's like, we're getting the gym done at 9:30 a.m. at the same time. There's no question about it. None of us miss, we get it done, right? And then the last thing that I will say that helps a lot of people is just to actually have goals that mean something to you. Because it's very easy to push something aside when you don't really care much, right? So when I have these discussions with people who are skipping the gym and they're not showing up, they'll often say, well, I kind of just go because I feel like I should be there, or I just like, I feel better. And that is great that you feel better. But when push comes to shove and life is challenging and everything tries to take over, if you don't have a deeper why, you will 90% of the time find a reason to just not show up. So these are the tips that I find very helpful for a lot of people. And I'm sure Josh has so many other ones. He's been consistently to the gym for close to 15 years now without missing, which is super inspiring. So I know these tips will help.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest tips, if you find you're going and then falling off, is flipping the switch from like something that you either do or don't do. Just see it as something that you always do, right? So no matter what happens, if you're on vacation, it's like, how can I find a way to make this fit? And being realistic with that schedule as well. So if you're doing 3 hotel workouts, get in there, get it done. If you decide not to lift during that time and you're okay with the reduction in progress and it's something you don't want to do, the week after, it's not a metric of if I'm able to get there. It's like, I will get there. If you just see it as something, no matter what, week after week, you have a plan to consistently be on top of, that's the best thing. Where people go wrong is they'll see it as something they're on top of and they're doing, or something they're just not doing at that time. It's like, I don't have time for the gym, but I'll get back to it when I have time. And then other people will only do it when they have a perfect streak or flow. So the more you can change that mindset and week after week, just see it as like, the gym is part of my life. This is something that will, like, exercise, healthy living should be part of your life forever. And being honest with that too. If it's unrealistic for you to be there in the gym 5 times, adjust that load to what's appropriate, adjust your goals. And I think that's where what Kyle said so important. When you have goals that associate with the effort you need to do and you know what you're working towards, it's a lot easier to get it done. I used to have a harder time in the gym when I would go and I didn't know what to do. And there was like a little 30-minute fix and I would do all the machines and it would actually take me about 10 minutes. And I'd say, why am I here? Like, this is a waste of my time. Whereas when I actually got really into it and I started making making really good high level routines and working to build my body like muscle by muscle to build my strength, like becomes way more engaging and way more fun, and it makes it a lot easier to do. So Kyle's tips were very tangible and really good, and I think that's my more just mindset shift that to me was a big game changer.
Should be able to fit your lifestyle. I find a lot of people struggle when they look at it as this like daunting thing. It's like, oh my gosh, this week I have to meal prep for 5 hours and go to the gym for 2 hours, 5 times a week. And it's just like this massive thing. Whereas like when you look at the week, you kind of look, okay, I'm just going to fit it in. It's like a small portion of my time. And even when you do consider an hour a day for, with 24 hours in the day, I believe it's around 4%, something like that. It's actually not that bad, but you really do have to prioritize it. And it always makes it easier when it's like, it means something. And even for some people, it's inspiring when they know that they'll be stronger and live longer for their kids and their grandkids and for their work. You know, a lot of our clients, their work life is going to be better, their energy, their relationship. So it just makes it so much easier to kind of fit it in and like create that lifestyle where it's like, this is my life. It's not like everything's surrounded around like just having to make it work. It's just like, it's what I do. I go for walks, I hit the gym, I live a fit, healthy and happy lifestyle. And that's really it. So on top of that, I will say like, accountability is everything for most people, especially when you are struggling with something. So even what we do is we actually will check in with you every single week for our online clients. We have a spreadsheet to fill out. And even it was funny, I was talking to someone yesterday. She used to be an in-person client of mine, but then she started to struggle like when she tried something else. So long story short, COVID shut down. I couldn't do any in-person training. And at some point she went with someone else to do like an online thing. And it didn't work for her because nothing was created for her. She was even saying it was just like so bad, like the workout routine, it just didn't work. Whereas like when we can actually take a look at someone's situation and say, hey, here's this individual who has a few kids, who gets home at this time from work, and like this is their life. Like, how can I help them create the systems and the most perfect game plan for them? That's why we're able to help you succeed. So that's another really big thing to consider, is just make sure to get some external accountability. If you need extra support, that doesn't make you a bad person. Like I know sometimes people are like, I want to do it on my own. Like I don't want to be like, their ego is kind of holding them back. So I just wanted to share that. That's a very important thing to consider.
Yeah, life happens, and accountability is definitely one of the easiest hacks. Me and Kyle are fortunate that we live together usually 3 days of the week. So it's like it would be so weird if one of us showed up and said, I don't want to work out today. Like there really needs to be a big reason for that to happen. So like I said, that being a non-negotiable and something we do is so nice. And having a coach on your side is one of the best things, or having those days that are set in. I was watching the Blue Jays game Monday night, and it was supposed to end at around 11, and it actually ended up finishing at just like before 4 a.m., which is crazy. I only made it till 1. I don't usually stay up, and I kept thinking to myself like, oh, someone's going to get this hit. It's going to happen. Then the next day I woke up at like 6:30 or whatever. So I got like 5 hours of sleep, let's call it, and I wasn't feeling it, but I had already agreed to go to the gym with my buddy. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'd rather go in the afternoon. And I still would have got it done in the afternoon because I'm disciplined, but I know the quality would have been compromised. So it was awesome already having that pre-scheduled in, even with like that massive excuse in front of my face where it's like, you just skip the gym, you could just do a half little workout. Like knowing that accountability is there is the best. And even for all my clients, like I'll look and say, hey, why do we only get to the gym 3 days this week? And I love my clients will sometimes say, it's really busy, and they're like, okay, it's an excuse, I should have got it done. And I love that my clients say that. I think it's one of my favorite things. That's how I know I'm working with a bunch of legends, and I love just seeing them progress, because even on this podcast we talk a lot about how you can say all these different things that ultimately just are excuses. I think even in general you'll get I meant to respond to you, like life's been so busy, it's been a few weeks, I've been so slammed. And it's like, come on, like this wasn't a priority. Like, let's call it what it is. It's an excuse. If I didn't go that morning, it would have been an excuse. It doesn't mean I wasn't more tired because of it, or there's a reason. But even having that accountability, like it was a good workout. Like I worked out hard, I worked out heavy, really pushed myself. I got a killer pump. I was really proud of that workout. And I think having that support in the background is everything. And that's where, even as a personal trainer, you'd probably mention, why didn't we mention personal training? I think that's one of the worst things, because I found people would be ridiculous and just do whatever they could. Like they'd skip the gym on their own time, they'd eat like garbage, they wouldn't sleep, because they'd come into me and say, hey man, I really need you to beat me up today. And it's like, okay, well, this isn't fixing the underlying issues. Like, I can beat you up for an hour, but if everything isn't optimized, the general theme of what you're doing isn't working. And that's my thought too. Like, if you miss a workout one week, last week was kind of funky for us because of travel. We did all of them, but a couple were hotel workouts. It is what it was. But in general, week after week, I'm in the gym 5 days a week. I'm hitting it hard. I'm on a custom program that's pushing me forward and helping me with my aesthetic and strength goals. So if there's a couple weeks that are imperfect, you still have the bulk of those other 52 weeks or whatever it is to really put under your belt towards progress. So that's where my point of just having that consistency is everything. And obviously we love supporting as coaches through that, because I know people that struggled previously, once they get that accountability of the coach saying, hey, let's get these in, that's where the results stack. And I actually think it's a great transition. I'm just going to jump into my quote because it's so applicable. And it is: the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. And this is the difference, because I think week after week, it's so easy to say, I was slammed. You go to the gym 2 times. Whereas someone else is there and they're having bad sleep, their kids are keeping them up, they still get in. They're there 5 days a week, week after week. Compounding is a powerful, powerful force. And like, it's those little bits of extra change that really will separate you from being okay to good to great to elite. And I think it's something I've really had top of mind lately. And I think the more you can just see the gym as something you do consistently, have a plan, have a system. We help our coaches with this when you're traveling, when you're not feeling it, when you're fatigued, when you have more load with life, especially if you have like more of an episodic job, like if you're an accountant or something where you get slammed one time a year. Like, being able to identify and plan for these things with a coach is the best, because hope isn't a strategy. And if you just hope you'll find time to go to the gym, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And on that note, like, one of my biggest things that I'm super passionate about, if you can't tell already, is just actually meeting each individual where they're at, being able to take a full 360 look at their situation, their lifestyle, how many kids they have, their work life. And even this individual who I was talking about, who's going to be crushing it in coaching with me, I realized for her to succeed and be extraordinary and get the results she's striving for, her routine needs to actually be created for her. So I came to the conclusion, hey, we're going to get her signed up at a local gym. We're going to do a few workouts there and then a few condo workouts for those days where her kid has extracurricular activities or work keeps her there late and all that stuff. And even kind of like one other point on the first question that we had, like, most people I find struggle because they go in without an actual game plan, right? You start the week and you say, I'm going to go to the gym and I'll hit legs maybe this day. And then like some machines are taken. You don't really know what to do. And they're wondering why they're not staying consistent and seeing results. And this is one of the biggest culprits, is just not having a game plan, but also not having accountability. So I want to show you that you have what it takes. I want to get you guaranteed results. We're looking to take on 3 women who are looking to shred off body fat, get a tightened and toned tummy, and get your results absolutely guaranteed. We're going to give you the most perfect workout plan, nutritional regimen, and just help you with accountability every single step of the way. So just message us tight tummy to Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusUSFit. And now into my quote, something that I came across the other day. It was simply, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And honestly, one thing I'm really passionate about right now is I've been kind of diving a little bit deeper into some of the greatest, some of the best people who just built like an amazing empire, or who just really became amazing at what they do. And one of the biggest themes, actually, Josh and I were talking about it this morning, is just being intentional with metrics, with timing, with like everything that you do. I've come across different podcasts. There was even one, it was by the School of Hard Knocks, the guy who interviews like really successful business owners. He was talking to Dave Ramsey, Charlie Sheen, and then also Jimmy John's in the exact same one. And I just thought it was so cool hearing about the way that they created what they did. And a lot of it just came down to measuring things and just being intentional with everything they do. And it's funny because even with it being the playoffs right now in the World Series, I was listening to something else as well with Ohani, who's arguably one of the greatest baseball players of all time. And it was just like, man, everything he does, like, it makes sense. Like, everything he does is for a reason. And even this morning, as I was talking about that with Josh, he shared with me Khabib, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. And it was just like so inspiring to hear. Like, I feel like we can all learn something from the greatest, like the greatest in whatever they've built, even if it's not as applicable, whether someone built a business or they're in the UFC, like even if we can't fully relate to it, I feel like we can always relate to the messaging from that, because to get to the best, to be the best of the best is just, there's a lot that comes down to it, right? There's a lot of underlying themes that we can apply to even become better. So that's my quote. But honestly, if you're not measuring stuff such as finances, your nutrition, your strength training, everything like that, even your time, like that's another really big thing, you're missing out on so much great information.
Yeah, and that was my thought. I listened to a really good podcast with Rob Dyrdek, and he was mentioning how he used to see Tom Brady. It was funny that we ran into him the other day. But Tom Brady, anyone who's super elite at what they do, like just think the GOAT. And he used to see them as freaks, like unrelatable freaks, never could get to that level of effort or intention or work ethic, if you will. And he said he used to dismiss it as them being crazy, ridiculous. And he said he started to give himself permission to say, I'm going to work towards being that. And I thought that was fantastic, because even for me, it's easy to say like, I already do things really well. Like if I go any more intense, like if I push myself to where I think I'm capable of pushing myself, other people will see that as too crazy, especially when like the bar for most people is set so low. But I think even for him, just saying, hey, I'm going to give myself the permission to try and do that, to push myself, to believe I have the capability to get there. And I really like Kyle's component of systems, because I think systems are everything. Like if I just expect myself to be fired up to lift heavy all week, it's not realistic. If I'm booking sessions with friends that are close to my strength, that have a great intensity, a great mindset, if I'm listening to motivational videos, if I'm watching videos of the top bodybuilders killing it in the gym, like my inspiration is going to be there. And even for you, if you tune into this podcast at least twice a week, twice a week, the whole time you spend with us, me and Kyle are going to be here helping improve your knowledge, your skill set with fitness, health, and happiness. So like doing those little things is just such an advantage. Even for me, I thought it was such an incredible example being up till 1 a.m. It's not to say I'll never be up till 1 a.m. again, but I knew it was a mistake. I just thought it'd be cool to be there for that moment. But I think even like just doing that hard thing, that little extra, right? Turning it off at 10 a.m. The next day I could just watch the highlights in the morning, not check my phone. No one can spoil it for me. So just being realistic with that, like even last night, it's kind of a unique opportunity that we're from Toronto. Toronto's in the World Series. They haven't won it since 1993. So it's pretty absurd, like about 30 years ago, like 2 years before we were born, which is so crazy. But even with that too, it's like important that there's always a reason why you can't do something. Like I said, I could have not went to the gym because of that. I could not go to the gym because I'm a little sore. I could not go to the gym because I have a bunch of work to do. But instead, like start looking for creative solutions. Say, how can I be the best? How can I be elite? And Kyle mentioned that thing about Khabib. So Khabib's brother, someone in his camp anyways, he's one of the greatest fighters, and he broke people down. He mentioned how when he fights people, they think they can beat him right until they can't, right until the fight's done. He said with Khabib from the start, he would break them, and it would be like they're in there like gasping for their last breath. Like they would just be suffocated by how intense of a fighter he is. And he mentioned how for him, there was no in between or gray. It was like, just do what you need to do. And he said when he gets home after a full day, it's 12 a.m. and he has to go for a run. He's like, half the time I'll go lay in bed, half the time I'll run. But he said Khabib would always, every single time, just get out there and get that running done. And I think to get to that level, you have to allow yourself to build it. I think it's easy just to say my mindset's not like that. I'm not someone who works that hard yet, but it's incredible too, like when you start to work towards it, like even from the start of my journey, the different things I've done, it's really cool seeing how I've progressed. And like I said, I think a lot of the time you just need to give yourself permission and learning better systems, having better coaches and accountability. Like it's amazing how much energy and excitement comes towards that. Even we just invested in ourselves by doing actual like mastermind that I mentioned last week, and like the energy that comes towards like my excitement for business, new systems, new ways of thought, meeting with other motivated individuals and learning from other great minds. Like the more you can do that, the more you'll be hungry and push towards growth.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like when it comes to motivation, so many people struggle. And I'd say like the day to day, when you actually think about it, you turn on the news, you go into work, there's obviously a lot of negativity in different places. And it's like, if you can try to fill up your day with different pieces of motivation, whether it was that Rob Dyrdek podcast and even myself. I got so much from that Josh was mentioning. And it was cool because we got those podcasts sent to us from one of the individuals. Shout out to Ashley. And she had sent it from the mastermind that we were in at Dallas. So it's like, there's just so many great things out there. And if you are struggling with having that like deeper level thinking and motivation, just keep surrounding yourself around these things. And obviously this podcast is great. If you're with us 2 times a week, you're going to get some fire and you're going to learn a lot. But the last thing I wanted to say with that Jays game as well, like I was up after 1 and there was a part of me that I was kind of like, well, I wanted to mentally just like be like, oh, well, I've already stayed up so late. Well, next day is going to be a write-off. Like there was one part of me, I had that one thought, and obviously my willpower is like basically at like 0% at that time. But I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, the next day, get up at the same time, get everything done. Josh sent me a really good video to help us learn and grow. So I started watching that once everything was taken care of, went for a walk. And I was like, man, the mindset of like, well, I've already messed up. Like, why not make it worse? To me, is just such a horrible mindset. And I can sometimes think that. I'd say less than 5%. But obviously, when you're really tired and you're not thinking right, then it can definitely be worse. But it's just a reminder, like if you ever do mess up, whether you have like a meal or a donut that like you weren't planning on having, just don't think that way. Just say, you know what? There's still a lot of opportunity in front of me to just make some changes. And to me, that's how you stay consistent instead of just always being like, oh, I missed my workout today and it's a Monday, I'll start next week. Like, it's just not a good way to think. So yeah.
Yeah, and Kyle lives that lifestyle day in, day out, so it was easier for him to defer to that better decision, but it takes work to get there. And being honest with yourself, if you're someone who struggles with that, and you're skipping the gym, you're falling off your diet, you're not doing that hard thing, that's where a coach is the secret sauce. Like having a coach is everything, because when you're feeling weak, your coach will be strong and encourage you. When you're feeling strong, your coach will inspire you to be even stronger. So having someone on your side is everything. And as we jump into our client shout out, I love like the conversations we have the DM. It's about just the podcast, your individual journeys, and then most importantly, people who are debating signing up for coaching and hearing their unique challenges and struggles and letting them know how we can help them through all those individual situations, because we all do have different problems. We all do have different challenges. And I've made every routine you could essentially imagine. Like at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we made a routine for someone like in a jungle using jungle equipment. Like we've been there, we've done it all across the world, different time zones, everything you could physically imagine we've done. And it's great helping people maybe such as yourself who feel like it can't be done, realize that it can and see incredible, phenomenal results. So who do we have our client shout out?
Yeah, this week we have Sarah, who dropped about 20 pounds and she got completely bikini ready, a nice tight tummy. And it's just really incredible to see, because most people, before they come into the program, they do have a lot of thoughts of like, I don't know if this will work. I don't know if this, like, I've tried a million things, like, and then obviously they keep an open mind to try another thing. And luckily enough, they do, because we always say like, this will be the last thing you're going to need to try, because you will get results. And I see so many people struggling with that mentally, because they're like, I've tried fit teas, I've tried supplement things, I've tried like keto, and it's just never stuck. And our biggest goal is to help people get ready like for whatever it is they want to, whether it's a special event, whether it's a, obviously a wedding, a trip, whether it's just like for their kids, they want to be better, but also keep all of those results. Like to me, the job's not done unless we can make and teach someone, how to teach them how to keep it, right? And Sarah's just such a great example of it. She lost 20 pounds. She got super shredded. She lives a fit, healthy, and happy lifestyle. Even her glutes, she grew her glutes. She improved her body composition in so many amazing ways. And we want to show you that it is possible. I already mentioned this, but we are looking to take on a few of you awesome people. It is a paid program, but I guarantee your results. And I promise you, when you come in here, you're only going to wish that you started sooner. So if you want results like Sarah and like the 5,000 other people that have come in our program, just message Tight Tummy to Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusUSFIT, and we'd love to help you out.
And now we're going to jump into our second question out of the mailbag, and that is, I've got a trip planned where I'll be using my hotel gym. How can I get the best workout in without having the best equipment?
Yeah, we've been through this quite a bit, and I shared on the story the other day. Typically, when we do travel, I know there was a question recently. We will go and get day passes, and it makes sense to do so for us. But there definitely will be times where it just you have to get something in. You want to feel good. You're not going to be hitting personal records, but you just want to be consistent. And it was funny, even when I made a video on it, someone had said, "Hey, these tips are perfect because I'll be working out at home and I just have lighter dumbbells." So like this is great. And we have a lot of principles, in my opinion. Once again, you're not going to be hitting like 100 pounds. Like most of these hotel gyms, home gyms, sometimes like whatever situation you're in, like it won't be as perfect as you're used to, especially if you're used to being in like a big box gym with tons of dumbbells and a million machines. But a lot of these principles can apply no matter what. So I will say, like, the goal is to still have an intense workout. And if you slow down a movement, so let's just say you're doing bicep curls and the weights are super light and you spend like 3 seconds on the way down, the eccentric, and you just do your same amount of reps you'd usually do, let's say 8 to 12 reps, but you just on the way down, you slow it down. This could be for push-ups, for rows, even for goblet squats, and you spend more time on the negative, so the way down. That will make the workout more intense. Now, another thing, and this isn't my favorite one, but if you're just using stuff that's just super light, you can definitely add reps and sets. And this way, you're just going to be adding volume. So typically, if you're used to doing 3 sets of something and you end up doing 20 reps, once again, it's not my first choice, but you still will get more intense of a workout and you'll be able to increase the amount that you're lifting within the entire workout. And then the last thing would just be taking less rest time. So if you're using a machine that's just like, it's just super light or the dumbbells just aren't optimal, whatever it is, and you just start to do more kind of like a superset type thing, or you just have less rest time, that will be a great way to keep the intensity up. And that's really all we're trying to do during these situations is not have you go in and use like 5 pound dumbbells if you know it's too light for you and just be like, oh, I went to the gym, but still go in and have intention and do quality reps and actually like challenge yourself. Because to me, it's not like worth, if you're going to go to these hotel gyms or you're at a home gym situation, like it's not worth just doing a few reps that are like really like light and just not worth it. Like you may as well truthfully do nothing. And obviously you'd be staying consistent with it. But another, and my last final point would just be maybe full body days for some people, because it might be a little bit easier, the situation that you're in. You could just do full body workouts, and that could be challenging enough to do like a bunch of different exercises. And also when you're traveling, and this is something I'll do for some clients, is I'll give them like 3 full body days instead of doing like their set, maybe push, pull legs. I'll switch things up depending on the equipment we have and what works best for them. So yeah, that's all I got for this question.
Yeah, I always try to like look up best I can, like specific gym location, gym or hotel location, and then the gym there, and see if I can find pictures of it or get an idea of the scale, because some of them are very, very minimal. Maybe dumbbells to 20 pounds, no machines, and like just not as realistic for your situation. If they're really bad, I'll usually look if there's something in the area, as Kyle had mentioned. Like if you can go to a better gym, that's that much better. If you don't want to waste time and you don't like that component of exploring the gyms, like I think you can absolutely make it work with anything. Even if you're stuck with just doing body weight in your room, there's always a path to getting something done. And naturally, like Kyle said, you can play on these levers to get more out of it. It just becomes more difficult, obviously, with less load, having more tension and more time. It's very hard to gauge fatigue if you're doing like let's say I was in bodyweight squats. I don't even know how many I could do, but I imagine it would be like 100 or more. I would hope, at least. I think it'd be well over that. And it'd be hard for me to achieve failure. Whereas today, like I'm pretty darn close, even with my 5 reps when I'm doing that with a heavier load. So that's where things do get a little bit more funky. And we actually help our clients actually have options for specific hotel workouts, dumbbell only if there's a rack. Like, so I love being able to assist through those different situations. And I think also you need to ask yourself how often this is. If this is like 1 week every blue moon, like you can do your best. It's not going to be a huge deal. If you travel for work and every week, like couple days of the week are always in a hotel, you're going to want to plan for that. You're going to want your routine to actually reflect that. Because if you just neglect it and you don't work out, or you just end up doing a dinky workout or go right to a treadmill machine, you're really going to shoot yourself in the foot. I've been doing this so long, it's very easy for me to navigate with what's there. But quite naturally, you can really get anything done with very basic equipment. And then any machines they have will be an amazing benefit and bonus as well.
Yeah, I'd say like on Josh's point of the treadmills, right? I see a lot of people when they are in a situation where they just don't know what to do. I find, because I have been in a lot of these hotel type gyms, and most people will just go and walk for 30 minutes or 45 minutes on the treadmill. I'm like, I'd much rather go walk outside and explore the area that I'm in. So it's like, it is kind of funky because when you're kind of unaware of like the stuff that you can actually do, it is pretty powerful. And that's where I love like being part of my client's journey, because every person travels, every person has something going on. So to be able to say, hey, so what's your week looking like? How many times do we want to get in there? Oh, you're going for some hikes on this cool adventure. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take away some movements here, and here's what we're going to focus on based off of your travels and the day you have planned and when your conference starts. And it's just really cool. Like we love being part of our client's journey. So yeah, that's my answer there as well.
Yeah, and I love finding a cool gym in the area. I think it's one of the best things. You try a different chain, you can see how unique it is, how people lift there. It's cool seeing people get after it wherever you are. Even when I was in London, I just woke up early and I went out. I think it was a Fit Box. It's really, really cool because it was right in the city. There were all these neon lights. It was super dark. Like it was super weird, but it was just really cool being somewhere new. And what I love too is like when you pay attention. I love that saying, because for me, if I'm paying 20, 25 bucks for a day pass, sometimes 10, sometimes 15, like I'm like, okay, I better make this workout count. Like it's almost better. The hotel gym, you could go there, you could, the pool's right next door and you could just bop over there. So having that skin in the game is so nice. Knowing you have no excuse to deviate from your routine, you can get a full workout in. I think that's a really cool bonus. And some of the coolest gyms I've gone to have been places I've gone on trips, seeing different things, meeting different people, getting new vibes. Sometimes you'll even see unique ways people do things where you can improve. And I find that extroversion of just like getting out is one of the best things you can do. If the time's not there, you can absolutely make do with the hotel gym, but I do find it's a way to add some novelty and just make it really fun. So that's one other thing I would definitely explore. But now we'll jump into our third and final question, and that is what to look for when looking for a personal trainer. I've never hired one, honestly worried about losing money and not seeing results, especially after what you had mentioned the other week about that bad trainer.
Yeah, this is a great question. And I have so much to say on this, and I'm going to try to simplify it. But like, if you are someone who wants the in-person stuff, hey, that's a cool place to start. There can be some great trainers out there. And I did this for many years. I'll be honest with you. The reason we do online coaching is because we genuinely feel like it works. We can help more people. We feel like the outside support we offer is just so much more beneficial. It's more affordable for people. And I'm not just saying this to try to get you on board, which I just genuinely do believe it's the greatest thing in the world. But if you are someone, hey, there's a local gym, I just want to get in there, I've never done it. What I will say is you should 100% make sure there's more support offered outside of the gym. And I always say like, and it was really awesome meeting up with my past client yesterday, just because like I did train her 8+ years ago. So we had a lot of chats of like, what worked for her in the past and, what's going to work for her in the future for this online coaching. And I'm really excited for that. But I will say like my biggest thing, and I was sharing with her, is like most times trainers will only support you like 1 or 2 hours a week. And when you think about it, there's 168 hours in the week, right? So you go in, you get beat up. And I was even sharing like, when you go in for a session with these trainers, like their goal and what most of them will do is just leave you laying on the floor, feeling like you got beat up. You have to do the sled a million times. And it's just a very different approach than someone who's online, who's doing everything calculated with the goal of getting you results and just having you do things on your own and just like, and just seeing change, like true long-term change. So like that's something to consider. Is it's so tough with that because in-person training can be $100 to $150 an hour. Some places can be even more. And they're just essentially going to count your reps, show you a few different things, and then also hold you accountable, of course, because when you have that session with someone, then you're going to show up for the most part, especially if you're going to get charged. But even still, like if you are looking for something in person, just make sure there's transformations. Like to be an in-person trainer, you can get a certification within minutes and you can have all these letters to your name and say, hey, I'm an in-person trainer. So I always say transformations mean more than certifications. So that's one other thing to consider. But like my last thing is really figure out what it is that you need. Because if you are someone who has zero motivation, you need someone to be there, give it a shot. They're going to hold you accountable. You're going to show up or you're going to get charged. And that's what's going to be best for you. But if you are someone who's like, you know what, I've got some things figured out. I need a bit of help with form. I need some extra accountability and I just want to see change. I really encourage you to kind of switch that mindset of thinking you need someone to hold your hand and think, hey, how can I get results at a much more affordable rate? At just a better option and have someone who's actually there for me consistently. Like that's what we do is, and I was showing this new client, I was showing her all the systems we use. We do video check-ins. We have unlimited text message support. We have a Facebook community, which she's been a part of and loves. And to me, it's just like so much better. So I'd say if you are someone who's like potentially thinking you need personal trainer, I'd say very few. Honestly, I'd say a small percentage of people actually do, and you actually need an online fitness coach. So that's going to be my little spiel. And I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and maybe you've tried a personal trainer before, you've done a session and you said it didn't work for me, I didn't see change. So why would I hire someone online where it requires more of the legwork for me? But I just think personal trainers are such a losing battle. And it used to really frustrate me as a trainer as well, because I'd crush it with them. I'd try and support them outside of it. They say, oh, we'll talk our next session. And like a personal trainer is a great excuse to like why someone's not fit, because like, oh, I'll just pay this trainer to do it, and I'd still get them results, but I just knew I could get them way more if it was fully online and they were understanding. And I think one of the worst things too is like, if you can only have a good workout when I'm there, if I'm going to train you 5 times a week, right, let's say I'm $100 an hour, that's $500 a week, so I'm well over $2,000 a month. Like that's a crazy price. Like once again, you could sign up with us for literally a fraction of that and you're going to get way more support past that. You're going to get nutrition, and most importantly, you're going to learn how to do it yourself, because unless you're just going to have a trainer for the rest of your life and you're willing to spend big money just always having a trainer, like you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot. And I would argue long term, like most trainers, you'll actually end up having worse workouts, because like most things, you'll build rapport, you'll build friendship, and people are smart. Like I think I annoyed people a bit, but people would try to talk to me. They'd ask me about my life and all these things and try and eke out a little bit more rest, right? Like people are smart. And I used to always go, okay, we'll start talking after the set. Let's do another one. But when I'm in the gym, it drives me nuts sometimes, because I want a machine, trainers on it, they're just yapping with their client, 10 minutes, nothing's being done. And I'm like, well, this is 1/6 of your whole session. You're just talking about your life, complaining about your significant other or whatever it is. Like it's not the way. And with that too, if you have no confidence that you can't train without them, like it can be a crutch. It can be a really bad crutch. And if you can kind of snap yourself free and learn how to do exercises, learn how to do them confidently yourself, like these are tools you'll have for the rest of your life. And I find having that proximity of a coach and send a form video to me, I'm there to answer, but like not having it actually impede your ability to progress and push yourself in the gym is everything.
Yeah. And even like if you ask people typically, and this is the way it is for most trainers, if you say, hey, how's everything going with it? Most of them will respond back and they'll say, man, it's great. He's killing me. Like he's destroying my legs are jello. And they'll talk about like kind of the effect that they get from the workout, but they won't really talk about the results they're getting from it, right? If you were to talk to all of our 5,000 people who have come online and you say, hey, how's everything? They'd be like, hey, it fits my lifestyle. It's actually easy because it's like created for me and they're getting me killer results. Like there's a day and night difference, because once again, in-person people, their goal is just to destroy you and have you wanting to come back because you just feel like you just had the craziest workout of your life. And it's about being realistic. It's about having something you can follow no matter what. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. So if you are someone who wants to see change and you want to see it long term, once again, message us Tight Tummy to Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. Obviously, lots of great takeaways here. And if you did enjoy this episode, which I know for a fact you did, if you share it with a friend on your story, on your MySpace, on your Twitter, like wherever it is, it'd mean the world, because that's how we grow, and we appreciate you all. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.